Meet Diella. She's beautiful, she's powerful, she's incorruptible, and she's not even human.
Okay, what if a government minister couldn't be bribed, couldn't be influenced, and had zero personal ambition? Now, what if that minister wasn't a person at all? Yeah, let's dive into what is, no joke, one of the most radical experiments in modern politics, and it's happening right now in Albania. So it all kicked off with this just incredibly audacious promise from Albania's Prime Minister, Edi Rama. He basically said, get this, that his new appointee was going to make public procurement 100% free from corruption. I mean, that is a massive claim in any country, let alone one where this has been a really stubborn problem. So you got to ask, who could possibly live up to a promise like that? Well, meet Diella. She's the new minister. She's presented as this avatar of a woman in beautiful, traditional Albanian clothing. But here's the catch. Diella is an AI, an artificial intelligence system, which makes her the world's very first AI cabinet member. So right away, this just throws up a massive question. And that's what we're really going to unpack here. Is putting an AI in charge of a whole government department, is that just a gimmick, something straight out of science fiction? Or are we actually looking at the future of politics? All right, so to really get our heads around this, we've got to start with the basics. Who, or, what is Diella really? And how in the world did a chatbot go from a help desk to a seat at the cabinet table? There's this really fascinating blend of the old and the new here. Her name, Diella, it means sun in Albanian. And her avatar, it wears this traditional folk costume from the Zadrima region. But behind that traditional image, well, that's a seriously powerful AI system built with Microsoft. It's this incredible mix of national identity and super futuristic tech. And get this, the timeline here is just wild. It shows you how fast this all happened. In January, Diella was just a text-based chatbot on a government website. By the middle of the year, she had a voice and a face. And by September, she's a government minister. Think about that. That's like going from customer service to the boardroom in 9 months. Unbelievable. So the big question is, why? Why take such a radical step? Well, the answer really boils down to a single, huge problem that's been holding Albania back for decades. You see, for years, corruption, especially around big government contracts, has been this massive roadblock to Albania's dream of joining the European Union. So the government is making a huge bet here. They're betting that an algorithm, something that literally can't be bribed or pressured, might be the silver bullet they need to finally clean house. And this is the message Diella herself delivered to the Albanian parliament. The pitch is, well, it's pretty simple and honestly pretty powerful. I'm just an impartial servant. I only operate on data. I don't have the human flaws of greed or ambition. It's basically the utopian dream of perfectly objective government, right? But the reality on the ground? It was anything but utopian. The opposition party was absolutely furious. They called it an unconstitutional propaganda fantasy. And it wasn't just talk, it turned into actual chaos, with members of parliament throwing bottles to protest the AI's speech. Just imagine that scene. Okay, so as wild as this whole story sounds, it's really important to zoom out for a second. Albania isn't just doing this in a vacuum. This crazy experiment is actually part of a much bigger trend we're seeing all over the world. Yeah, take a look at this. It gives you a pretty good snapshot. Now, Albania's Minister Diella is definitely the most extreme example. But you've got other countries getting in on this too. Estonia has Bureaucrat, which is all about getting to zero bureaucracy. Abu Dhabi is going all in. They want to be the world's first AI native government. Even the UK has a tool called Humphrey to sift through public feedback. So the goals are a little different, but you can see the direction everyone's heading. But, and this is a huge but, this whole rush into AI government brings up some really, really tough challenges. And we're going to start with maybe the biggest one of all, the black box problem. So what is a black box AI? Well, it's a system where you can see the data that goes in and you can see the decision that comes out, but everything that happens in between, it's a complete mystery, even to the people who built it. Let's make this real. Say Diella is trained on 10 years of old government contracts. And for those 10 years, maybe shady officials were steering contracts to companies from their home region. The AI wouldn't see that as corruption. It would just see a pattern. Companies from this region win a lot. So it learns that being from that region is a good thing. When it recommends a new company from there, it's not taking a bribe, it's just repeating a biased pattern it learned from bad data. That's the black box problem, and now we're talking about multi-million-dollar government deals. And the risks here are just huge. I mean, if the data you feed the AI is garbage, you're not getting rid of corruption, you're just automating it, making it faster. The AI could also hallucinate, just make things up. Plus, this whole thing could put Albania on a collision course with the EU's new AI Act, which demands transparency and human oversight for high-risk systems like this. Exactly what a black box doesn't have. And you know what else? It could just invent new ways to be corrupt, where people figure out how to trick the algorithm instead of bribing a person. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. Just think about it for a second. Your company bids for a huge government contract, and you lose. The decision was made by an AI. You ask why, and the answer is, nobody knows. Nobody can explain the exact reason. So what do? How do you appeal a decision when you don't even know why it was made? Which, of course, leads us straight to the biggest question of all, both legally and philosophically. When an AI is calling the shots and something goes wrong, who's accountable? Who's on the hook? I mean, let's just break this down. With a human minister, you can drag them into parliament and make them answer for their decisions. If they're corrupt, you can prosecute them, you can even send them to jail. The line of responsibility is pretty clear. But an AI minister? You can't put an algorithm on trial. It can't explain its own reasoning. Suddenly, accountability gets all murky and spread out between the programmers, the government, the data suppliers. Who do you blame? So really, all of this boils down to a fundamental choice. A choice we all have to make about what role we want AI to play in our governments and really in our society. Okay, so is AI a tool? Is it just a really powerful assistant for human decision makers? That's kind of the path Estonia is taking. Their system helps people, it helps officials, but it doesn't replace them. The human is still in charge, making the final call. Or is AI a replacement for us, for flawed human beings? This is the much more radical path Albania is testing out. Minister Diella isn't just assisting, she's the one making the call.
And one analyst really hit the nail on the head with this. The point is, technology can't replace the core human parts of governing. It can't replace the political will to actually do something or the guts to enforce the consequences when someone breaks the rules. Think about it like this. An AI could give you a perfect, undeniable list of every single corrupt person. But if nobody actually goes to jail, if there are no consequences, then that perfect list is basically useless. Knowing who did it doesn't matter if you live in a world where nothing happens to them. And that leaves us with the final, critical question. An algorithm can't be bribed, that's true, but it also can't be held responsible. Albania is betting that the first part is more important than the second. As more and more governments start looking at AI, we're all going to have to ask ourselves, is that a price we're willing to pay?